Today I want to talk about Necron Super Weapons, the particle weapon, or at least the weapon that should be super. It's coming right up.
Necrons!
Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. And if you're new to the channel and you want to keep up to date with all things Necrons, then please subscribe and hit the bell button to turn on all notifications so you don't miss an upload. Right, welcome to today's Necron video in, well, quite unusual times. I have my coronavirus haircut. Basically, I'm desperate for a haircut. But, well, this is going to be getting longer and longer over the next few weeks. So, yeah, bear with my really bad haircut. However, my family and I are safe and we are trying to stay safe, so I hope you are too in these rather troubling and worrying times. Stay home and stay safe. So, Necron Weapons, the particle weapon. Now, before we chat about this particular weapon, let's find out more about it.
Particle weapons are Necron guns that use the annihilation principle of antimatter as a weapon. They are a family of exotic and technologically advanced direct energy weapons. Particle weapons function by emitting a stream of minuscule antimatter particles which detonate on contact with normal matter and are incredibly reliable, needing only enough energy to maintain the electromagnetic containment field that prevents the antimatter from detonating when it comes into contact with the normal matter that comprises the weapon's mechanisms. Despite shooting out green light, they should not be confused with Necron Gauss weapons.
Now, I've had this video topic ready to make for quite some time. Actually, I nearly made it just after Chapter Approved came out. However, the points reductions in Chapter Approved did change my mind very slightly on the topic on certain units. However, I think it's still a valid topic to talk about because, in my opinion, well, Necron particle weapons are almost a waste of time. They don't seem to be very good, and they certainly don't seem to be as the fluff suggests. And I'm just wondering, well, why have we got particle weapons in the army? Now, maybe I'm missing something here when it comes to particle weapons, but, well, I never seem to take any models with particle weapons on, and surely that's not right. Why have we got a type of weapon which we never take? So what I want to do is have a look at all of the units with particle weapons and have a little chat about them. Okay, so before we start the chat, I've got something that I want to show you. Hopefully you're going to like it. Let me know what you think of it in the comments box below. Right, here it is. Oosh! Hopefully now the image will look a lot better because I've got my new lens. I'm using a Sigma 70mm 2.8 art lens. It's a macro lens, so not only should the video look better for focus, depth of field and also the colour separation, but it's also a macro lens, so I'm going to be able to photograph my minis better with it. Just a massive thank you to everyone who's become an Idic Beer member because, well, that membership's really helping me improve the channel, and hopefully you can see a big difference in the video quality. Now, I'm still using my old lens for this particular angle because it's a different focal length, but the goal is to get a better lens for this angle as well. Now, if you want to support the channel, help me get this second lens, then yeah, please become a member. You can join for just 99p. There's more details by clicking the join button below. Okay, so the first unit I want to have a look at with a particle weapon is the Monolith, which has a particle whip. Now previously this was an awesome ordnance weapon back in the old days when we had templates. However, it's a little bit different now. The particle whip is 24 inches and it is a heavy 6 shots, so you do get 6 shots, and although it's heavy you don't get penalised because of the special rule that it has, so you can move and shoot with no -1, and it shoots on 3s. Now that's not bad. It's also not a bad strength. it's strength 8. However, this massive ordnance weapon on our classic monolith, well, it's only AP -2, and it's only a random D3 damage, not even a fixed 3 damage, it's D3. I could probably live with it just being a fixed 3 damage, but D3 damage, I mean, come on Games Workshop, this should be the biggest, baddest weapon in the Necron Codex, the Particle Whip. And yeah, a random D3, I mean, if you want to make it random, at least make it random D6. But yeah, D3 damage on a unit which is overcosted. It goes down far too quickly because, okay, it's got 20 wounds, but it's only got a 3+ save. It's got no quantum shielding. And for 300 points, as it is now in the chapter approved points reductions, well, with the particle weapon on it, it's a bit of a letdown. Okay, so next is the Tomb Blade, which has 3 weapon options. You've got Tesla carbines, you've got the Gauss blaster, and you've got a particle beamer. Now, Tomb Blades can take 2 Tesla carbines and 2 Gauss blasters, but just 1 particle beamer. Now, the particle beamer is 3 points cheaper, so it works out 6 points cheaper in total. However, when you look at the stats of a particle beamer, well, it's just not worth taking. Now, admittedly, the particle beamer is slightly stronger at strength 6 rather than strength 5. However, the difference between strength 5 and 6 is very marginal. You do get 3 shots as an assault weapon, but like I said, there's only 1 gun, and you get 2 guns of the other options. Now, of course, Tesla explodes on a roll of a 6 to hit, so you get 2 extra hits for each 6 you roll, and the Gauss has the ability to rapid fire and be -2 AP. So the particle beamer, for its stats, just doesn't seem worth taking. Okay, so next up is the Kinetic Wraiths. Now, with the chapter approved points reductions, there is an argument that their particle weapon, the particle caster, is actually worth having. It's now only 2 points, and couple that with the points reductions on the actual wraiths themselves, and well, they're not too expensive. The particle caster is 12 inches, it's 1 shot with 1 damage at strength 6. Not bad. It gives the wraiths the ability to shoot as they're moving in, assuming of course you're not advancing, and when you're in the assault, in your phase, you're able to shoot that weapon into assault in the assault phase. So yeah, not bad for the points. However, I think looking at wraiths by themselves without the caster, well, they still operate very well indeed. They do their job of surviving with their 3+ invulnerable save and causing your opponent to basically shoot a lot of guns into them to kill them. So you don't need all of the points invested in them, and you could save yourself the points not putting the casters on them and using those points elsewhere in the army where maybe it's needed a little bit more. So particle casters on wraiths, it's not bad, but I still don't think it's worthwhile. Okay, so next up it's the Kinetic Spider, and with its Gloom Prism, our main anti-psychic ability, well, you would have thought we'd see these on the table quite a bit. And they have the option to take particle beamers. Actually, they have 2 beamers, the same weapon as on Tomb Blades. So that's 6 shots. The Spider unfortunately hits on 4s rather than 3, so even though you've got a lot of shots, you're not going to get many bullets out. Now, the main issue with a Kinetic Spider is that you can't really hide it, because if you hide it behind a piece of terrain, well, the psychic defense is only 24 inches, the same as the gun, and you can't hide it amongst your units because it can be targeted. It's not a character. So almost definitely, especially if your opponent has psychers on the table, they will be targeting your spider very quickly indeed. And like I said, with the amount of wounds and the toughness, it's just going to go down very quickly. So particle beamers on a spider, again, it just doesn't happen. Okay, so next up is the Arc Praetorians, which I don't think we're going to be talking about too much. They also have the option to take a particle caster along with a void blade, which gives them +1 attack. Now, of course, you could take the Rod of Covenant with these guys as well. There's not too much difference between them. If you're just shooting, the Rod will probably do more damage, although it's slightly lower on its strength. It is -3 AP compared to 0 AP. However, if you're going into assault and shooting, then the Particle Caster and the Void Blade would potentially do more damage. Potentially. However, you've got to get them there, and we know there's a lot of inherent problems already with Arc Praetorians, mainly that they don't have the Dynasty code, so they can't benefit from some of the buffs that we're able to give our other units. Plus, even with all of the points reductions, they're still quite expensive. 220 points for the Particle Caster and Void Blade for a unit of 10. And that's a lot of points considering you have to get them across the table to do what they need to do. And they need to be, well, close. They need to be ideally in close combat. And even if you get them into close combat, the damage output of the weapons are really bad for the points. So yeah, the Particle Caster on Praetorians, again, it's another unit which I don't think many of us are using. Okay, so next up is the Triarch Stalker, and again you've got 3 weapon options. You've got the Particle Shredder, the Heat Ray, or the twin-linked Heavy Gauze Cannon. Now I know a few people actually like the Shredder, but personally I tend to use the other 2 gun options. The twin-linked Heavy Gauss Cannon is 36 inches, a nice big range allowing you to hide the Stalker, stick a leg out so you can get cover save, and then pick off targets to use the targeting relay. You've got the Heat Ray, which has a couple of options when you shoot it, either a couple of high strength shots for anti-tank, or you've got some anti-horde shooting, albeit those guns are much shorter, so you do have to push forward once again. Now the Particle Shredder has 6 shots, which is very nice, and it's a D3 damage gun. It is a heavy gun though, so if you move, you'll be at -1 on your ballistic skill. However, the other 2 guns are D6 damage. The Shredder sort of has a place, and there are ways to use it, but I think out of the 3 gun options, it's probably my least favourite. Okay, so next I want to have a look at a Forge World unit that also has a particle weapon. Now these are secondary weapons and you have a choice. You can take a Tesla cannon, a Gauss cannon, or a particle beamer. Actually, unlike Tomb Blades, you get 2 of these particle beamers. Now the particle beamer is just 3 points cheaper than the Tesla cannons, and you don't really get a great deal. I mean, I'm actually going to put my glasses on to make sure that this is correct. But the particle beamer is strength 6, and so is the Tesla cannon. 0 AP on both, 1 damage on both, and the Tesla cannons explode with 2 extra hits on a 6, and the particle beamer, it doesn't. And the stats are exactly the same, it's just that the beamer is 3 points less. Well, okay, you could arguably say, well, I'm trying to save a few points. It would be 6 points less if you had, of course, 2 of them which you have to take. So 6 points less, but I think I would rather have the exploding 6s. Great for Overwatch, and of course just allows you to get more shots out. So once again, the particle weapon is another disappointment. Okay, so there you go. As you can tell, I'm not particularly impressed with particle weapons. I mean, do we even need them in our codex? What's the point of them? Can't we just have a Gauss pistol or maybe a Tesla pistol as an option? I'd be really interested to hear what you think of these weapons. Now, I previously made a tactical video on the Triarch Stalker and how to use all 3 weapon options. So if you're interested in watching that next, I'll put a link up to the video just there. Beam me up!